Hey there, knitters. So we're just back here with round 3 of our brioche rib. So the first stitch here is that wrapped stitch again, and as you can see, the second stitch is a purl stitch, so that'll be a good indication that you're going to do a BRK on this round, which is a brioche knit. So you're knitting a brioche knit stitch, you're knitting the wrapped stitch, or the yarn over slip stitch from the last round. So you're just going to go ahead and knit those, and you're going to take your contrast or your main color and go ahead and do that, and then you're going to yarn over and slip stitch again. So you're going to knit, yarn over, slip, knit, yarn over, slip, knit, yarn over, slip. So it's interesting how it works, but now you're left with your knit stitches here, and then the wrap stitch becomes the purl stitch. So on the next round, you're going to do a brioche purl. So whichever stitch is wrapped is going to be that brioche stitch. So here we are on a purl. So we've just done a BRK or a brioche knit stitch. So yarn over, slip 1, brioche knit, 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 yarn over, slip 1. Oops. So that's how that's going to look there. So yarn over, slip 1, brioche knit, yarn over, slip 1, you just have to be careful because sometimes this single purl stitch gets stuck kind of underneath this stitch, the wrap stitch, and the knits or the slip stitch from the previous round. So you just have to kind of be careful again there that doesn't happen, and that they're nice and separate. So the first time I did the brioche stitching and I watched a girl do this on the video, I was so overwhelmed, and I thought, oh my goodness, there's no way, like I don't even know what she's talking about, because she was using the BRK and the BRP, which is just simply stated as the brioche knit is just knitting these two stitches together, and the brioche purl is purling those two stitches together. So it was just a lot of new terminology and things that I hadn't heard before or seen before. I wasn't familiar with what to look for, but you will surely find very quickly after trying this out that you will notice how it's supposed to look and what to look for in, if you've done 2 knits or 2 purls together or whatever, you've made a mistake, right away that that's not right. So yeah, so it's coming along nicely. So I'll just pause the video here and make it around so that I don't bore you completely, and then we'll start with our next round. Round 2 and 3 is basically how it's done. Just continuing those 2 rounds around. So like I said, the hardest part in the beginning of the video was the setup round, which is where you do the knit 1, yarn over, slip 1 purlwise, and you repeat that around. So yeah, the brioche purl round and the brioche knit round is all you need to do after that. And it's smooth sailing from there. So I will just continue on here and come back shortly. Hey there, so we're back to the end of our round with our marker here, and we're just going to, we've just done the brioche knit stitch, or the BRK, and we're going to pull our yarn to the front, or yarn over, and then we're going to slip that last stitch, and we're going to keep that yarn in the back, because as you can see, this is a wrapped stitch with the pink, and this is the BRK stitch, so that stitch is single on its own, and then this last stitch is going to be the wrapped stitch. So when we come around with the next color, we're going to slide our marker. We're just going to keep that like so, and when we come around, we're going to make sure that our BRP, or our brioche purl, purls those 2 together. Okay, so so we're just gonna leave that yarn there, and we're gonna drop it where it lies, and we're gonna come into the back of our work and pull this guy. Actually, what I like to do is, because we want this yarn here in the back to stay put, we're just going to take this contrasting color and start knitting with it, but we're going to cross it in behind just so that it'll tack this stitch there and keep it nice behind our work. So what I've done is I've just done that last brioche knit. I'm going to lay my yarn down in the back there just like so, and I'm going to take this light pink and just start working with it in order just to keep those 2 stitches tacked there in the back. So hopefully you understand there what I mean by that. So here we are with our knit round is normal. So we're going to want to, just by looking at this, our purl round is the stitch that's wrapped. So our knit round is singular, and our purl round is that yarn over slip stitch from the last round. So I am going to want to do a yarn over. I'm going to slip that stitch, that knit stitch, okay? And I'm going to do another yarn over and brioche purl those 2 together. So my yarn is already in the front, so I'm fine to just slip that stitch, but when I do a brioche purl, I'm gonna yarn over or bring my yarn around the needle to the front. So that's how that works. So again, my yarn is in the front, so I'm just gonna slip that stitch because my yarn is already where I want it, and I'm going to do a yarn over and brioche purl, or bring my yarn around the needle to the front. I don't know how else to say that. In the pattern, I've got it as a yarn over, so my yarn is in the front. So where I start, I want to do a yarn to the front, and then I'm going to slip that stitch. I'm going to do a yarn over and a brioche purl. So that's what the definition of that is there. So my yarn is already in the front. I'm going to slip one, yarn over, brioche purl. So you'll find a real flow to this brioche ribbing, and the flow comes by just our yarn is already in the front, so by just letting it flow and moving your fingers the way they go. So our yarn's in the front here, so we're just gonna slip that yarn over, brioche purl. I'll do a couple more. So I'm about halfway here. Again, just for the sake of not boring you half to death, I'm sure that you've got it by now. I'll just pause it and continue to the last few stitches. Okay, so we've just reached the last couple of stitches here, and so we've got our yarn in the front. We just did a brioche purl, so we're gonna slip that stitch, yarn over, and brioche purl those last two together. So we're going to put our yarn to the back. That last stitch is a single stitch, so it's fine just to leave our yarn exactly where it lays, and we'll just get our little cakes set up so they're not tangled in the back. And what I'll do here when I'm starting this next round is just take this yarn underneath the light pink and go with it. We're gonna slide our marker. So right away we can see that we've got a brioche knit or a BRK, because we've got this knit stitch here wrapped with the yarn over from the last round, and our purl stitch is the single stitch left out on its own, so that's going to get wrapped. This is going to be knit or BRK'd or brioche knit, so we're going to knit these two together, wrap this one and slip it, knit these two together, same like we've been doing. So we're back on round 2, and we're using if you forget which yarn you're using, you know that you're using the dark color because that's the knit stitch that's standing out, so you're going to use the predominant color for the knit. So we are going to sorry, I just want to make sure that I've got this. Yeah, so we're going to take our main color and knit this stitch, bring our yarn to the front, slip, knit, yarn to the front, slip, knit. So yarn over, slip one, brioche knit. 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 You could also say bring your yarn to the front, but in the pattern stripes the hat, I've written it up, and I've seen it written as yarn over, slip one, brioche knit. So yarn to the front, slip one, brioche knit works as well. However you want to think of it. Again, that kind of gets stuck under there, that little singular stitch. So you start to really get a flow to your work and know what you're looking for. So again, I'm about a little bit more than halfway to my marker, so rather than bore you with the details, I'll just continue on and pick up right at the marker. Okay, so here we are, 2 stitches before the end of the round. I'll just slip this one back so you know what I'm doing here. So I've got my yarn in front. I'm slipping this stitch purlwise and doing my brioche knit. Yarn in front, slip stitch purlwise, and then I'll just then I'm just gonna place that yarn over the needle like so, and I'm going to pick up my light pink from behind just to kind of lock that stitch in place there. So I've got my wrap stitch, my single knit stitch, and my wrap stitch again. So I'll slide the marker and we're ready to start our next round. So what we're going to do here is bring our yarn to the front. We're going to slip this we're going to bring our yarn to the front. Let me just think here for a second. Yarn over. We're on our brioche purl round because the purl stitch is the one that's wrapped on this round, so you can see that. So we're going to do a yarn over. We're going to slip one, and then we're going to do a yarn to the front, or bring our yarn to the front to count that as a yarn over. We're going to slip this knit stitch purlwise, and then we're going to bring that yarn around to do the brioche purl. Okay, so our yarn's in the front, so we just slip that one and we bring our yarn around to do the purl. So I've got it written down as yarn over, slip one, yarn over, brioche purl. And that's how it should be written. I had the star in the wrong place, so I just moved it over. I guess it doesn't really matter unless you are one of my testers who had questioned round 4 in the stripes, the hat pattern. So our yarn's in the front. We're going to slip that stitch, bring our yarn over to the front again around that needle, and brioche purl. So slip, yarn around to the front, and brioche purl. I've got it written on the pattern as a yarn over. So I'm going to go ahead and do a couple more. Slip around and purl, yarns in the front, slip around and purl. And I'll just knit to the end of the round again as to not bore you with the details, and show you the last couple stitches. Okay, so I'm just at my end of round marker. My yarn is in the front. I've just done the brioche purl stitch, so I'm going to slip that last stitch and come around, do a yarn over, and do a brioche purl again. So I'm going to, because this stitch is wrapped, let's just take a closer look at that. Okay, so this is my lone purl, this is my wrapped stitch, and this is my lone purl. So I've got a wrap, a lone purl, a wrap, a lone purl. So I'm okay just to put my yarn in the back and pick up my darker color from behind. Sorry, you didn't see that. So I've got my my light pink here. I'm just going to put it behind, and then I'm going to pick up my dark color from the back, cross the two, and start knitting with this one here. So I'm just going to continue on. It's just basically those 2 rows. So it's pretty cut and dried. Actually, I'm not going to cross those. I'm just going to leave that and pick it up where it lays. So yeah, we've got our brioche knit. So we're going to do a brioche knit. We're going to yarn over, slip one, brioche knit. 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 So just those 2 rounds is all you have to remember from here on in, and this is how it's shaping up to look. So it's a pretty cool ribbing, and depending on which color you use for the knit stitch and which color you use for the purl stitch, gives you a little bit different look, but it looks the same on both sides, just that the opposite color will be predominant. So in the black and white one, a lot of people said it looked like a piano keys because the white stitches were predominant, but then when I changed to the black stitches being the knit stitch, it gave it a totally different look again. So this gray provisional cast on will come out when I'm finished my hat. So at the very end, I'll do a video on how to do extra stretchy bind off. So we'll just take we'll take all of these stitches that are on hold here right now, and we'll place them back on a needle and do an extra stretchy bind off. So continuing along on our journey, happy knitting, and hope this helped.